Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the Toulouse Sevens. This next match, it is always a hard-hitting affair. Fiji taking on Kenya. There are some very strong players for both of these lineups, and both sides want to be able to top the pool, but it will be tricky to do, definitely with the challenging opposition that they will have in their group, including these two sides who are playing currently, France and Wales. And with 20 seconds left, France have got themselves a 56 to 5 point lead over the Welsh, so that is absolutely massive for them at this game. I have a feeling could be a little bit closer, although if Fiji play like they did near the end of the competition last week, I think they should have, or last league, I guess I could call it, they should be able to win this game relatively comfortably in their front row, or in their lineup. In fact, it is going to be Vakurabili there at number one. Then it is Kanakoivata Dalgunu, who is the captain, with Tunu is there as well, Rasahu. Then it is Bukayaro and Narawalo. That is the starting lineup for Fiji. Then for Kenya, it is Bushmwale, Otieno, then Hamwa, Odiambo, Oyo, Legami, and also Omunde is the other man in that starting lineup for Kenya. So I'm excited to see who can make the better of this opportunity. The first game for both of these sides of the Toulouse Sevens, they will have three stages that they've got to try and make their way through, which is, of course, the first matchup. Then they will have two other matches against France and Wales as well. And it looks like France aren't finished with what they're doing. That's what was slightly distracting me. It looks like France want to score themselves another try and get themselves a possible 60 points against Wales. No, instead Wales are going to win the penalty. And if you were the Welsh, you'd probably just kick this ball out now. You'd say, right, we're not winning this. And they have kicked it into touch. And that will be the end of that game, which does finish 56 points to 5. So 61 points throughout it. This game between Fiji and Kenya. There will certainly be fireworks. And I'm excited to see who can stand up. I think actually, I'm going to go Nathunu. Nathunu to score the first try of this match is my prediction. If it is a Fijian player, if it is a Kenyan, I will go with Odiambo as the man who is able to score. I'm a little bit rusty with the Sevens. I'll be honest. We haven't done it for a few weeks. I think the last competition was Vancouver. So we'll take a little bit of time to get used to saying some of these names again. But hopefully it does end up going relatively smoothly. For the benches, Olindi, Anya, Mwasi, also Sikole, and then it is Huku there as the bench replacements for Kenya. Then for Fiji, it's actually going to be Mothinathani is actually there, and he wasn't initially in their squad. So I'm wondering whether or not that is due to injury or something along those lines. Then it is Balatha, also Kunatani, Saturanga, and Mai Samoa as the last name for the Fijian bench. But do let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say Fiji win by 2 tries. We will give them a 12-point win up against the Kenyans. But you never know. Kenya are one of those sides that no matter who it is, no matter the day, they can beat them. But it's just whether or not they can put it together well enough to be able to get themselves a win. But France, they've got a points differential of plus 51 at the start of Pool B, which is exactly what probably Fiji and Kenya don't want to see for this group. And it will all come down to who wins between Fiji and France, I feel, for who will be able to qualify first in that group. But Fiji, they are ranked 6th. Kenya, they are ranked 10th. And the two sides now going to be making their way out onto the field. But it was a big call to not have Vakurabili as the captain of the Fijians. And I said in my preview of the squad, I think that might be down to the fact that they want to have him more as an impact player off the bench and have their captain out on the field a little bit more often. Hence why they have gone with Tavita Dalgunu, who doesn't normally miss too many minutes of the Sevens overall. It has been proven by his performances in Singapore and also in Vancouver. But it is Oyo, the captain of Kenya. He will be excited to see whether or not his side can manage to get themselves a big win. And it would be a huge upset. We've already seen the fact that Ireland were able to beat South Africa. That was a big upset. New Zealand versus actually Scotland, they were 0-0 at halftime, which was starting to become a little bit more along the lines of maybe an upset in the future. But this now is about to be kicked off. And the Kenyans, they are ready to go. They will be receiving this ball. And Fiji getting ready to go. Waisia Nathunu about to kick us off for the very first game of the Sevens for both Fiji and Kenya. Getting plenty of height on it, just making it go the 10. And Kenya doing nicely to keep that one almost in the field of play. But unfortunately, Oyo was unable to keep it just inside. Now taking a quick throw here for Kenya, or for Fiji. In fact, it is Nathunu. Now passes it back across into the hands of Vakurabili. Just shunts off one. Talafolo now down the wing. And when this man gets the strike going, he is very hard to stop. He's almost run into touch. What an offload that is going to be a Vakunura Billy. Going to be able to find the offload up as well. That was an absolutely brilliant one. He was almost driven into touch, but just keeps it in the field of play. Fiji trying to keep this ball alive, but it has backfired. Now Kenya have been able to get that loose ball, waiting for it to bounce up. It's going to be possibly knocked on, though. And everyone is just trying to get their hands on the ball. Kanakaivata, I think it was able to clean that one up, but that was scrappy from both of the sides for that little moment. Now backline movement is available for Fiji, and when they get space on the outside, it can always be a dangerous day. Rasaku's gone straight through, and that will be the first try of the match for Fiji. And Rasahu has been able to score the try. Very nicely done. And Fiji now have themselves a 5-0 lead, or at least they will once he decides to put the ball down. Still waiting. Still about to put it down. He's put it down. Right. It was a bit teasy, wasn't it, for him? But he was waiting for a Kenyan to get a little bit closer before putting that ball down. And that is showing, I guess, the signs of a confident team. When you feel like you can use up an extra 30 seconds or so, that's how you know you think that you should be able to beat them. And we'll have to wait and see whether or not that is the case. But it was nicely done from Kim and Elliot. Rasaku just went straight over the tackle and was able to go right in for the try. Plus 30 seconds, I guess you could say. So it wasn't quite the quickest try we've seen from Fiji, but it certainly won't be the slowest. That one's gone over, and now the score is 7-0 in favour of Fiji over Kenya after only 2 minutes of this game. It's like a couple deep breaths being taken by the Fijians. Now, I will mention these conditions are not easy. They are currently playing in 27-degree heat, which I think, it's the question of who does it favour more. But at the end of the day, you don't want to use up all of your energy in your very first match because you know you've got another one a little bit later on, but that's going to be the knock-on from Kenya. Now, Vakunura Billy has got that one back. He's found the beautiful offload to Rasaku, who does step on the inside, trying to link up with a couple of his teammates, is unable to do so. The ball is just available for the Fijians, picked up one-handed by Vakunura Billy, now using the back line. I'm looking at Talafolo out on the wing as a possible option there, but now beautiful steps up the middle. And it was very nicely done by Nathunu, who has been able to do nicely there. And also, hi, says Yanu Brand. And there, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. And Louis, as a nice commentator, nice in there. As I do appreciate you being here, mate. Anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That is the second try of the match for the Fijians. And Nathunu has been able to go in and get it for Fiji, just using a little bit of the stutter step. And just went round everyone. Unfortunately for Kenya, they just didn't seem like they were quite able to line up the legs. Last-ditch tackle missed by Legami. And because of it, the Fijians, they have now got themselves a 12-0 lead with a kick to come. It's not going to be the easiest kick in the world. In fact, it's very difficult. Oh, it's just gone away to the right-hand side. So the score will remain 12-0 with only another 3.5 minutes left in this first half. So Fiji, they'll be pretty happy with that. They now have the kickoff as well to be trying to get that ball back in their side and increase their points differential, because at the end of the day, if France have got a points differential of plus 51, you need to be somewhere near there just in case you do have a loss somewhere along the lines. It is the top two sides from all of the pools, and there are 4 pools. I should mention that one did not go 10, so now Kenya will be able to take their quick tap from the halfway line. But yeah, top 2 from all the groups go through to the quarterfinals, and those quarterfinals are taking place in about, I'd say, 29 hours' time or somewhere around there is when we get to see those quarterfinals take place. Now taking the quick tap now. Kenya have got this ball, and this will be their first attacking opportunity of the day, and it's looking not too bad for them either. Bushmwale with a good run, making an extra 10 or so meters. It's going to be the penalty against Bukayaro. Got to be careful to not throw that ball away. Oh, okay, this doesn't look good for Bushmwale. He is rolling around in agony on the ground. And that is the last thing Kenya want. He is one of their star players. So if he is injured, it could be a massive hit to them. He's still rolling. He's going back and forth. I'm not too sure. I want to say maybe shoulder. Just because I would think anything to do with back or anything, you wouldn't feel like rolling back and forth. So we're just waiting to see. Okay, they're going to go for the scrum. Bushmwale. He looks like he's going to be able to continue. Okay, I'm not too sure what that injury was. He hasn't really shown what it was. It was more of the case of he was just in pain, and now he's not in pain, so he's all good. We've got to keep on going. That is the toughness of these two sides. The Kenyans and the Fijians both put in massive hits, but then also can take a good hit as well. Now passing it back across. Kenya have got this ball about 40 metres out from the line, and a nice step there from Oriambo, who has been tackled backwards by the Fijian defence. I believe it might have been Bukayaro who was able to make that tackle. Now passes on the outside, bit of space for them down the wing, trying to create something, but not Ovalo able to cut him off there. Fiji still trying to get this ball back, but Kenya looking like they've got a nice set back line now going out wide to Oriambo, who is trying to step back on the inside. Good tackle on him from about 22 metres out. That tackle was made by Kona Kaiwata. Now some quick step and feed from Bush Moale. Almost able to go straight through, keeps on his feet. Still going to be available for Kenya. And Fiji, I think they thought there was a knock on there because they almost stopped playing, and you got to play to the whistle. And because of it now, Kenya only 5 metres out from the line and getting closer and closer. But this time now, it is going to be the penalty to the Fijians, and they will take the quick tap here. Trying to use their backline. One of the Fijian players down in the back play, I do see. I will try and get a name for you guys in a very short moment, but for now, it is going to be out onto the wing, into the hands of Kanakaiwata. He's gone. He's gone past the tackle, and now he's going to have to go right into the corner. I don't believe he's going to be able to cut in hugely for this one as he was being chased by Omunde, but that is going to be the third try of the match now for Fiji, and they are looking like they are picking up right from where they left off of the last Sevens tournament. They were unlucky in that final. They were beaten by Argentina, but they want redemption now, and it seems like they're certainly going in the right direction to be able to do so. But brilliant run down the wing from Kanakaiwata. He's a big man. It's deceptive how solid some of these Fijian boys are. Like, you would think, 5'10", 5'11", you look at someone like a Nathaniel, but then you've got a couple guys who are 6'2", 6'2" plus, and the likes of, I guess, Vakuna Rabili, also Talatholo. He is just an absolute beast. Although Talatholo, I have just realised, I mentioned his name a little bit earlier on, I don't think he's playing. That's unfortunate. I swear he was in their side initially, so maybe he is the one who was replaced by Mothena Thagi off the bench. Interesting. That one hasn't gone 10. Kenya are going to have that ball back. I'm a little bit sad that Talatholo is not playing now. I was looking forward to seeing him in action for the Sevens, because that means that they've got a replacement for him out on that wing who's just as tall, just as nimble, and I think that is Narovalo. And now breaking around the outside, it is going to be a foot race here. And now trying to use that pace. Kenya up to the 22-metre line. It was a little bit loose. Otenio has been able to win the penalty for Kenya. They want to take the quick tap. They want to keep this game alive. Now nice inside ball goes up to Otenio, and he will score the try. The first try of the match for Kenya. He's just committed to the dive and just pretty much smacked into the turf. Bounced a couple times. I think he might have winded himself, but he's all right now. It was a good run on the outside. And brilliantly done by Kenya to use that man on the outside in the form of Otenio. Then he was able to find that pass off, and that is such an important factor, finding that offload, keeping the ball alive for a little bit longer. It was a brilliant tackle in the end by Fiji, but then just too many players in support, and then that is what got them into a lot of trouble. They weren't able to defend it, and then Anulavalo just had to watch him go in, and yeah, he bounced. He bounced hard up against the turf. Now Kenya lining up the drop kick. That one is missed about 20 minutes. No, not 20 minutes. Sorry, 20 metres. Somewhere around there. But it is going to be a half-time now. 17 points for the Fijians and 5 for Kenya. And also a good first half, says Jan Lubrand, sorry. And yeah, it was a very good half for Fiji. Kenya didn't look too bad either. And like I mentioned, 27 degrees Celsius temperatures. It's going to be tricky for these two sides, definitely when you do get into those later stages of the day where it's just hot. And I believe they've literally got tape and ice packs and all sorts that they are pretty much putting on the Fijians to try and make sure that they keep cool and they do manage to keep themselves nicely hydrated for the second half. And it looks like Vakota Rabili, he is fired up at the moment for his side. He is not the captain anymore, but it is Nathaniel. That was a very zoomed-in smack on the bottom from someone there. Stay steady, keep them on the edges, is the comment from their coach. So I guess pretty decent advice, really. You want to make sure that Kenya, if you're going to have them, or if you're going to allow them to even have any runs, you've got to make sure that it's close to the touchline where you've got that slight possibility of being able to shove them into touch if you do need to. But nonetheless, second half just about to get underway. 6 missed tackles from both sides, but that could be down to the fact that they haven't played for quite some time since, I believe, Vancouver was the last time we got to see both of these sides in action. And that was the one where Fiji, they made it to the final. Kenya I believe they finished in about 10th or somewhere around there. So they will want to improve in this group, although they're in a group with France. They're in a group with Fiji. It's going to be tough to do. Felipe has said, good morning, Kiwi lads. How about the draw game? Yeah, it was a lot more one-sided than a lot of people expected. But unfortunately, they just couldn't quite get that momentum going forward. Unfortunately, the Crusaders, with the amount of changes that they made, I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a battle. But there were still some big hits from the Fijians, of course, which is something you can expect no matter what sport it is. Fiji are going to hit you hard. I feel the Crusaders players are probably feeling a bit sore right now, if they can even remember what their name is. I know that Braden Ennor took quite a few big hits in the midfield for that matchup, and now it has kicked off by Kenya. Huge amount of height on that one. It hasn't gone the 10, though, unfortunately, and it would have been a perfect kickoff if it had gone the 10, as it was very nicely done from on Monday. But now on the halfway line, Fiji will be able to take this quick tap, and still with 7 minutes, Fiji has the most offloads, most steals, and most tries of any team in the last event for Vancouver. So very impressive, and that is kind of a stat, or those 3 stats that the Fijians just dominate normally. That is going to be Norovalo trying to make their way forward. Yeah, Rasaku has got back to his feet. Rasaku, brilliantly done. And just too much acceleration. He scores the try, and Fiji get themselves their 4th. At the moment, they are seeming like they're chasing that French total. And the fact that they were able to win by 51, France, if Fiji can win this game by anywhere upwards of 30, that would be massive for them in terms of that differential, because you do want to be the first one in this group, because if you finish first, that does mean that you have a different opposition to if you finish in second. And in second, you do have to wait the longest out of any quarterfinal to be able to have your match. That is at 7:05. And some sides do prefer waiting a bit longer, but other sides just want to get out there and really get into it. I feel like these two sides, definitely Fiji, are a side that just want to be out there and playing at every chance that they get. But that one has missed away to the side. So the score now 22 points to 5 in favour of Fiji. It looks like they are rotating these subs. I do see Natuno here is off the field. And I should mention Jerry Tawai. Unfortunately, injury has meant that he is not going to be back for this leg or the leg next week that is taking place in London. Maybe he will be back for LA, but it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. And also we've got the Balatha back to the Sevens team. And there he is going to be coming off the bench. I believe he might almost be out on the field now, if I'm not wrong. He is wearing number 7 for this game. I'm just looking through to see if I can find him. But now it's a nice run forward from Kenya. Nice step. And it is going to be Johnston Olindi with a good run forward. Bushmoale has to play halfback. And now the Kenyans, they've got a 3-on-2 on the outside. If they get it right, they could be in for their second try of this game. Nice step. Oh, it's a good shot, though, on Oyu, who's been slammed down only 15 metres out from the line. Kenya now, this is looking good. And all they need is the perfect little flick pass. Oh, it's dropped. It has been dropped by Olindi. And now Fiji, they've got the advantage. And I think it's going to become a bit of a foot race here. And it looks like he's going to be caught. Brilliant low tackle. And I believe that was the number 3, Otieno. And he has been able to win the penalty as well. Brilliantly done by the Kenyan number 3. And not only was it a try-saving tackle, but then from there, it was probably a try-saving intercept in the breakdown that he was able to get for himself. Otieno, like they're saying, Rasaku, he was almost caught, but then the ankles. In fact, it was Balatha who did have that one. Then he did end up giving away the penalty in the ground, and it looks like maybe Otieno's night will now be over, or his day anyway. I should say day, since it is in France, whereas we're actually nighttime over here in New Zealand. It is currently almost 1 a.m. Hello, howdy, big fella. Tosa Boravanaka from Missouri, USA. Says Rugby Kiddo there. And welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. I did see USA able to get themselves a massive victory over Australia in the earlier stages. So we've had a few upsets already, and we're only a few matches into the sevens. But it is that perfect example of you can never predict who will win a game of sevens up until the final whistle. Currently, Kenya trying to fight their way back. It's a brilliant tackle made there by Mai Samoa. Currently hanging on to it. Kenya have given up that ball. It's a penalty now. And it's a double blow of the whistle. Someone's going to the bin, unfortunately, by the looks of it. Yes, it is. It is a deliberate knockdown, and it will be against, I just want to make sure I say the right name. I believe it was Humwa. Yes, it was. He did end up getting himself penalised there, so they will be down to 6 men now trying to defend for the later stages of this game. 2 minutes, which does mean he will get about 1:15 left after he does return. But I guess, Rugby Kiddo, who do you think is winning the whole competition in Toulouse? Are you going Fiji, or do you think someone like an Ireland could cause a monumental upset? I know that they beat South Africa already in the earlier stages. Okay, they're making a sub by the looks of it. I think both sides just a little bit confused at what's going on. Waiting patiently. Okay, we're still waiting for the scrum. I think both sides just waiting for the subs to be made. There's the Kenyan number 11, Anya, who is making his way out onto the field now to join up with the scrum. But with one-man disadvantage here, Kenya are really going to have to make sure that their defence is well and truly what it needs to be. 2 minutes is plenty of time for Kenya to strike if they can. And there's Sammy Sosa exactly right. Although saying that with a man disadvantage, is there time for Fiji to possibly get themselves another one? It is going to be pop pass. Up now out the back line, it is going to be my Samoa trying to back his pace. Using plenty of it. He's found the offload as well. It's a knock on though. And now Kenya have got this ball back. Going short side. He's just bumped off my Samoa. Good run from Mamasi. Now back across. Advantage is now over for the Kenyans. Wide cut out pass. I believe it's Bush Mwale out on the wing once again. He was injured earlier on, so it's great to see him back to his feet. Does a little flick pass out the back. And Kenya looking to strike again. It's just a loose ball though, but it will still sit up on the side of the Kenyans. Bush Mwale now gives it off into the hands of Olindi. Running backwards. He's going just in complete circles trying to find a gap. And now it's a penalty to Fiji. And also, yes, Ireland Sevens coming up. And there's Nathan also has the crowd watching. It looks like there's a decent amount there. Possibly not as many as they would have liked to have, but normally it's kind of those afternoon games that do get a lot more people in attendance, seeing as we are actually still on a Friday afternoon, so people are still working at this stage in France. But I think at night time we are going to see quite a few more people turning up. And tomorrow for the quarterfinals, semi-finals on the Saturday, it is going to be packed, hopefully. And also we've got there about the Ireland Sevens coming up. Yeah, they have got their game coming in the near future. And I believe their next game, I want to say it's actually up against Samoa, I think it is. And we are going to be covering that game on the channel, so be sure to stick around for that one, ladies and gentlemen. But now it is going to be available at the back for Bukayaro. Now passes it back across Fiji, hanging on to this one, only 40 metres out from their own line with 1:15 left on the clock. So Hamwa, once we do have a stoppage, will be able to make his way back out there, and that's going to be bouncing onto the side of the Kenyans. Nope, it is going to instead be the penalty against Kenya there in the breakdown. Unfortunately, Olindi gets himself penalised, wasn't on the mark. Time off, and I think now Kenya will be back to 7 men for the rest of this game. But it looks like Balatha wants to kick it for the touchline. And the most recent time that we've seen Balatha, when were we last seeing Balatha? He was he playing for the Fijian draw? Or was he playing in France? I'm still trying to work out where I saw him last, because I know that we've seen him recently, because I accidentally called him 6 foot at one stage, but he was not 6 foot. He is pretty much the opposite of 6 foot. But now, throwing it in, taken nicely by Kanakaiwata. And now available on the halfway line here for Fiji. Balatha got a take and run, and a beautiful sling and wide cutout pass into the hands of Saturanga, and he will go for the corner, and he will get the try, using up a little bit more time right on the siren. Yes, for the draw. And there's says Felipe as well. That is going to be the end of this match, I would think. Right when the siren was sounding, the Fijians have been able to pick themselves up yet again, another try. So the points differential, it won't quite be as big as France's was over Wales, but it will still be a very decent amount. And as long as they win their game later on up against France, I believe that is actually going to be their tomorrow game. I think, if I'm not wrong, Fiji play Wales at about 8:30 a.m. New Zealand time, so in about 7.5 hours' time, whereas that matchup is taking place between Kenya and France a little bit sooner, but that one has gone over, and that will be the end of the game. And Fiji, they have been able to get themselves the win, 29 points to 5. And what has been a very impressive performance for a first game back against the Melbourne Rebels. And there's his Felipe. So it's been a little while, isn't it, since we've seen him in action. But the Flying Fijians, they'll be pretty happy with the way that first match went, and they will be looking forward to their next challenge, which is going to be up against Wales. And that game will be all about the points differential. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning into this live stream. I will quickly let you know what our schedule is looking like for the later live streams that we are going to be doing on the channel for the Sevens. I'll quickly open that up one moment. But we've got quite a few that are coming up. So that is the last game that we have got for a little while. Then the next game that we are going to be covering, I believe, is going to be Australia versus the Fiji women's side. That will be at 4:06 a.m. New Zealand time. Then after that, there is South Africa versus Spain. We may be able to get that one in. But then after that, it is Samoa versus Ireland. We are definitely covering that game at 4:50 New Zealand. Then play the USA. And then the next game after that we will be doing, I believe, is the URC. Ulster versus the Sharks at 6:35 a.m. New Zealand time, followed by the next match, which will be Fiji versus Wales at 8:33. So those are all our matches that we are doing. That's just for today as well, until we get to the later stages when we will have plenty more, including the big old matchups that are taking place a little bit later on in the competition. But nonetheless, if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out the Kiwi Lad Sport. That is the pinned comment, and also that link that I have just put in the chat. It is hugely appreciated, everyone checking out that channel, as we have got plenty more videos coming up on there as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all